Yo, what's going on? It's just boxing. Um, Once again, back on boxing news, 24.com. Spence versus Porter, and Darrell versus Benavidez. Their weights. Um, Sean Porter and Errol Spence Jr. both weighed in at 147 pounds. At the weigh-in Friday, and for the unification fight this Saturday, and IBF welterweight champion Earl Spence Jr. Towered over WBC welterweight champion Showtime Sean Porter during the face-off. Which everybody already know what Earl Spence was like 5'10", Porter what 5'6", 5'7". So hey, everybody know all that when they was coming in. Anthony Durrell and David Benavidez look extremely matched in the co-feature weights. WBC super middleweight champion Anthony Durrell and former WBC champion David Benavidez both weighed in at 167.5 pounds. Both guys were close to the same height at 6'1.5". Benavidez is accustomed to being a taller fighter. That might be a problem with him too. Since he haven't faced too many taller fighters, people with the equal height as him, excuse me. But not this time. Darrell about the same height at 6'2", and was able to look Benavidez in the eyes during the face-off. It's going to be interesting to see how well Benavidez does against a guy his own height that has punching power that can actually hurt him too. Because his last fight was against Jalen Love. No knock on him, but he's no Anthony Durrell. But I feel Showtime Sean Porter has to pressure Spence. For Sean to be victorious, I think he's going to have to impose his will, and he's going to have to take away a lot of things that Earl Spence does great. And keep him away from him to being victorious. Said the trainer Virgil Hunter to Fight Hub in his analyzing of the Spence and Porter fight. But Earl Spence Jr. has to convince Sean whatever he's going to do won't work that night. You know what? And the thing about it, that's what Earl Spence has been saying leading up to the fight Saturday night. He said that he has prepared for everything, but he did say he's gonna knock him out cold. Like he said he's not gonna just come up in there and just swing it to the fences. That's not his style. He's both fighters are gonna be well prepared, and he said, and take him downstairs from the brain to the gloves, so to speak. Showtime Sean Porter has to be effective one round at a time. I think the first 3 rounds will tell who the fight is the most difficult for. It's a difficult fight for both fighters, but both guys are driven and both guys have proven that they can. So Sean has won some big fights, and he's been in some big fights. He lost some close fights as well. He fought Keith one time, Thurman, when he was at his peak. What you mean at his peak? He's still at his peak. Stop that, bro. Keith Thurman is still at his peak. And again, it's a fight that has a lot of questions, but it's one that is more close to answer than question, said Barry Hunter. But Porter game is based on him pressuring his taller opponent, and it doesn't make sense for him to steer away from that style. It's gotten him this fight. In Porter's last fight against Ugas, he went away from his pressuring style, and he almost lost the fight. Man, the dude almost lost. Man, the dude. Okay, I'm not gonna do it. But Hunter said, I can't fathom to come up with a game plan to beat Earl Spence. I think the bottom line is, can Sean overcome Spence? Said Hunter. It would be really hard for me to come up with a game plan to beat Errol Spence, but I can, but I can't even fathom to come up with a game plan to beat Earl. But if I was to pick any punch that would help Sean in his fight, is he would have to have an effective jab. His jab has to be effective. It has to be educated, and it has to set up everything, and it has to keep Earl off balance. I think that's the most important punch for him to utilize for him to be victorious in his fight, said Barry Hunter. But it's difficult for anyone to come up with a game strategy that can beat Errol Spence. He hasn't lost a fight since the amateurs when he was beaten by Andre Zamakovoy and Zarek Sipayev. Those guys use speedy combination and movement to beat Spence. However, Spence pressure was starting to give both fighters a lot of problems as the fights ended. It's quite clear from watching those fights that Spence would have destroyed both guys if these were 6-round fights. They were literally running from Spence at the end. The judges will sway by Spence more telling shots, says Hunter. Well, Earl brings a lot of volume to the fight as well, said Hunter. He throws a lot of punches. I think he's above the welterweight average. Because he threw over 1,000 punches in the Mikey Garcia fight. Earl Spence throws a lot of punches, and it's just not, just throwing them just to be throwing them. Every shot that he throws is calculated. It has a meaning behind. He has meaning behind every punch that he throws. So he's throwing them for a reason. He's just not swinging for the fences, so to speak. But one thing I did notice was the hairstyles of each person with the hair being up. It's going to be sweating with. Why are these cats talking about their hair? That's odd. But I think with Earl punches, it's pretty clear when he lands because he places his punches very, very well. He really do. Just like I said, I call him Mr. Fundamentals. I got that off of Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan was Mr. Fundamentals because it's not, it's like he didn't just do one thing great. He did everything good. And that's who Earl Spence. I don't know why, but Earl Spence remind me of that, man. I mean, it's like, it's like it is. He don't have all the flash, so to speak. He don't have the flash like a Floyd Mayweather or a Terrence Crawford, but he's he's fundamentally sound. He's a throwback, old school fighter, and and that's a dangerous fighter to be in the ring with. Because he's gonna bring it. But Sean Porter swarms, and he's volumes to hit you on the arms and shoulders. So it's hard to pick up on what punches are land, but he is effective in what he does. But if you think about Sean fights, you would have to go to each round and say, okay, did he land 6 or 7? Even though the work rate is there and he's landing punches, you have to ask yourself, where was it a clean shot? You know what? That is so true. Because and I think that's why he lost that Keith Thurman fight. It was a close fight, but if I'm not mistaken, I think all 3 judges had it for Keith Thurman. Because he throws. He was throwing a lot of punches. But from the judge's eye view and from the people at home, he wasn't landing the most effective punches. You see what I'm saying? And it was like that is so true. Wow. But that's a testament to his style, and his style has overcome a lot of styles. He's beaten a lot of great people. Says Barry Hunter. So one thing about it, Sean has to sit down on his shots a whole lot more. You know, and you know, and it's like when he fought Keith Thurman, he seldom did that against Keith Thurman. But when he did land some good shots on Keith Thurman. But he couldn't do it against Kell Brook though. Kell Brook manhandled him. Pretty much Keith Thurman manhandled him in, you know, in some spots as well. But Porter's going to have to put more emphasis on sitting down on his shots for him to win this fight. He throws too many wild shots, and that don't have a lot of power on him. But if Spence is loading up on his punches, the judges are going to be more impressed with his work. You know, because Earl Spence, I'm telling you, man, he throw 1,000 punches a fight. You know, and it's like that's a lot of freaking punches. That's a lot. 1,000. That's a lot of punches, bro. A lot of punches. So we're looking at 83. We're looking at 83 punches thrown per round. That's a lot of punches, man. Accumulated on your body shots. We talking body shots. We talking jabs. We talking power shots. You know, so it's like, come on, man. That's, you know, that over a 12-round fight. So, you know, so just imagine what he did to Michael Garcia. Not, you know, by all means, I'm not comparing Michael Garcia to Sean Porter. I'm not doing that. But Sean Porter's work rate would be higher than Michael Garcia. But it's the punches throwing that Earl Spence is going to do. The work rate is going to be there. Sean Porter has to be effective. He has to throw effective punches. But Porter can win if he fights like he normally does and outwork Spence. I just don't see that happening. Because like I said, Earl Spence jab is going to be the key in this fight. But Kell Brook was ahead of Spence after 6 rounds in that fight in 2017. But you have to understand why he was ahead. Now you have to remember now, Spence was out. Spence had a 9, 10, 11-month layoff. So that played a huge factor in that fight as well. Because remember, he had to wait for Kell Brook to come off that injury leave too. Because he got injured in the Triple G fight. So, but he suffered but Kell Brook suffered an eye injury later in the 11th round, and Earl Spence Jr. stopped him. So the referee waited off, because Kell Brook couldn't finish. But anyway, man, this is going to be an exciting fight. Can't wait for the co-main event is going to be great. John Molina and Josecito Lopez is, man. That's that fight might steal the show. Because we're talking about 2 come forward fighters. Both fight. They're around the same age. I think John Molina is 36. Lopez is 35. If I'm not mistaken. And both of them are action packed. Lopez's career has had a comeback to life, so to speak, from Garcia. Being in his corner, he had a great fight against Keith Thurman in his comeback fight, and I picked Lopez to win the fight, but it's going to be it's going to be an exciting night of boxing, and I'm gonna tell you who win. Us, the fans, we win. So I hope everybody go out and support this fight on Fox pay-per-view. Like I said, it's just boxing. Hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you can get notification. It's just boxing. I'm out. Peace.